So happy to be here. I feel like a fourth grade teacher all over again, hanging out with two superstar students. I told them to take a look at this room, measure it out, because someday they're going to be working out of here. This is our future of STEM right here. Let's give them a round of applause. Look, I'm really honored to be here. This is a huge highlight for me as Secretary of Education, to be able to really celebrate this here at the White House, to talk about the importance of STEM education. Our You Belong in STEM campaign was really a brainchild of Cindy Martin, Deputy Secretary, who you've heard from, you're going to continue to hear from. You know, she and I share the passion, like, let's just make sure that we're helping our country reach its potential by putting STEM where it needs to be. I was telling the young ladies here, we have a responsibility to ensure that STEM is not a nice to have, but it's the foundation of what we do in our schools if we're going to meet the moment that this country has in front of us. So thank all of you for the work you're doing. And I want to give a special shout out to Cindy's mother, Fern, who is visiting and celebrated her birthday. She's on a flight back to California this morning. Fern is awesome. We love Fern. And then another really, really special person that over the years I got to know a little bit more, Kari. Kari's been a fierce advocate for science education, for STEM education. And, you know, I've been privileged to be able to be interviewed by her in Austin, Texas at the South by Southwest EDU for a couple years. I'll be very frank with you. When we started that, the first thing she said is we have to have a STEM festival at the White House. She was pushing for this like 3 years ago. I barely know where my office is. And she's telling me we have to do this. And then I was like, yeah, that's a great idea. And then the following year, she's like, well, where are we? And no, I mean this, like, you have been the face in so many ways of what STEM can be, and I just want to acknowledge you and thank you for your advocacy, for your partnership, and for saying, listen, when you get it set up, I'm there. And true to word, you're here. So thank you for your leadership, Kari. I really appreciate it. Let's give her a round of applause.
Can I just throw that back at you?
Thanks.
I would like to thank you and the entire Department of Education for partnering with us on the National STEM Festival. This is the founding year, and it's already amazing. This is a life stream for me. When I was young, I didn't see myself in science, and I want to change that narrative for my daughter who's in the audience right now.
That's awesome. Stella, please stand up. Stella, please stand up. Let's give Stella a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. So look, that's what this is about, man. That's what this is about, right? Not just embarrassing teenagers on national, but about the potential that we know that they bring to the table. And it's my honor to introduce Isabel and Sahiba. Wow, when I read their bios, I'm like, okay, what year of college are they in? These are high school students. Isabel, she has a project on preventing bacterial infections. 10th grade. Remember what you were doing in 10th grade? And then we have Sahiba, 11th grade. She has a project on algorithms to optimize pandemic testing in 11th grade. This is the future of STEM, man. I'm so excited about it. And I told them they're going to be STEM famous today. So when we have this YouTube link and they're applying for colleges, just send them the link. Just send them the link. It does show the power of STEM to really shape our world and shape our lives. And I really do look forward to this conversation this morning. This is really going to be the highlight of my day. So thank you for being here. And Kari, thank you for all the work you're doing. Let me turn it over to you now for some hello and welcomes.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. As we've been talking about, I am the director of the STEM Festival with Jenny Bukos of EXPLR here. We are extremely excited to be putting this together. This is going to be such an incredible event. We have so many brilliant, brilliant young innovators that I don't even want to call them the future of STEM because they are STEM now. They are STEM right now. And it is an incredible, incredible group of students. So if you happen to go to the STEM Festival today and tomorrow, it's going to be amazing. So thank you again for really, really helping spearhead this because the Department of Education has been amazing. And I think we need to start getting to these women right here.
Let's get to
this
know them.
This is the star right here.
That's right. Let's get to know them a little bit more. First of all, I'm very interested in hearing more about your projects. Like, what made you do those? Tell us a little bit about the project. We can start with you, Isabel.
Hello everyone, my name is Isabel. I am a 10th grade student from Wilmington, North Carolina. My project was the invention of a cost-effective alternative to preventing bacterial infections. It is a topical solution that you can apply post-wound, post-surgery, and it prevents bacterial infections.
And my name is Sahiba. I am a high school junior from Midland, Michigan, and I think of myself as an innovator and a change maker. So in my solution, I wanted to try to use problem solving, the things that I love. I love math and I love coding, and I combine all my different interests into the problem I saw around me was that in the COVID pandemic and other epidemics, we were having a really low supply of tests. So I looked at different algorithms to try to optimize that testing and save those resources.
That's awesome.
Right? There are two things that I think are going to lead us in STEM. That's empathy and critical thinking. And I hear that from both of you. What was your motivation for your project? I'll start with you, Isabel.
So my motivation was actually kind of an interesting story. I was not forced, but I was recommended to do a science fair project if I wanted to get 10% of my marine science grade. And so I originally wanted to do psychology because my mom is a mental health therapist. But the issue with psychology is if you don't have participants, you cannot conclude anything. And I had 0 participants. So I decided to switch to something that I could actually do. And so my dog had just had an ACL surgery and his entire leg was shaved. And I was kind of concerned because he was wearing a cone and he didn't have any bandages. And so I thought, well, what if it gets infected? Or what if he starts licking at it and things like that? And so I wanted to kind of work with developing this bandage. But the issue was he has a lot of hair. And I didn't want to work with the hair and the bandages. So then I thought about someone who is very close to me, my mother. She has a low immune system, and so she's more susceptible to bacterial infections. And so I wanted her to feel safe and comfortable that if she gets a wound or she has surgery, that she doesn't have to feel like, oh my gosh, if I get a bacterial infection, that I could potentially die. And so that kind of inspired my project. I feel like this has the ability to save the 7.7 million people's lives that die each year due to bacterial infections.
That deserves a round of applause, man.
Thank you, Isabel. You're up, Sahiba. What was your motivation?
So it kind of came from, well, we talked about COVID. It came from COVID. So as you all know, as educators, COVID affected a lot of the education realm as well. And I wanted to continue my math involvement because I really, really enjoyed it. So what I looked for is I looked for ways I could problem solve and do puzzles. And I came across this organization which had different game-like activities. And one of those was about this idea of group testing, which is the algorithm that I explored in my project. And in this, I was able to play around, kind of like a playground for me to explore different things. And then I kept thinking and was able to connect it to my learning, and I was like, hey, I can solve and do things in society with this. So that's where my project came to be.
You are so incredible.
That's fantastic. So, we here in DC are always looking at ways to expand STEM and even in our schools. What message do you think we should be thinking about as we try to promote the message of the importance of STEM and the message of you belong in STEM, that STEM is for everyone? What advice would you give us?
I mean, you are live streaming from the White House, so there are policymakers, there are STEM thought leaders. This is an incredible platform for you guys to have your voice. Let's start with you this time, Sahiba.
Awesome. So one thing I would say is we're all from many different backgrounds, right? You might be an educator, you might be a policymaker, you might even just be a passionate individual who wants to help in society, right? So I would say go by the motto, don't just hope it happens, but make it happen. So if you have anything that you can contribute, you have your own voice and you have your own perspectives. So just like us, me and Isabel, we are 2 young people that have a lot of things that we can contribute to the world around us. And if you can provide us with that platform and the support, just like you guys are doing here today, then we can truly start to make that impact. And we talk about wanting to improve STEM initiatives, for helping people get into STEM. Well, we're doing that right now. And you guys have made me feel like I belong in STEM. So thank you so much for that.
It's events like these, like the National STEM Festival and You Belong in STEM, that make children and kids feel like they belong. I feel seen, I feel heard, I feel encouraged that I can continue to do STEM. As a Latina growing up, I didn't see a lot of other Latinas in STEM doing things like this. And so by having Secretary Cardona and like all of these people that I can see and encourage me that I can keep doing this, I feel that I can work congruently with everyone else to encourage others and other Latinas and people of color and everyone that they can do it. Because it is an amazing thing to be a child. You question everything, you always wonder why, and so if we can continue to encourage all of the other millions of American children to just ask why and to do something about it, I think we have this amazing opportunity to, find the cure for cancer, reverse climate change, maybe get us to Mars so that we can live there. I think that that is what truly can make us do something special.
Wow. I always say I have more confidence in the next generation than even my generation, and that's why. That was brilliant, both of you. I really feel so excited about our future, knowing that you two are going to be leading it. Yeah. Do you have a question?
This is what I'm hearing is be the change you want to see and involve the stakeholders. And these are the stakeholders here. We need to listen more to the young innovators. So thank you guys for saying that. And just out of curiosity, did you have any role models, mentors, or inspirations that helped to get you here? Because we also want a little more of that. We want some see it, be it.
So I actually have a ton of mentors. I find that my parents are role models for me. Everyone in this room is a role model. But I also find that I think of myself as my role model. My future self is what I want to be. I want to be a Fortune 500 company CEO. I want to be a Forbes 30 under 30. And so I wake up every morning and I give 110% so that I can get to that point. I go to the lab every day. I do my research. I do my schoolwork. I put so much effort so that I can get to that point because I know that I am the only one that dictates my future. And so by looking at myself as my mentor, as my role model, then that strives me to continue pushing forward, to continue doing well, and to get to the point that I want to be at.
That's amazing. And going off of going off of what Isabel said, right? Like all of you in here are providing me with this platform. And so I want to first of all thank everyone here. And then, going off of that, I want to talk about a program I'm part of called Chief Science Officers, which allows me to do STEM advocacy and essentially do STEM initiatives in my community. Now, the adults in this program they might not be sitting there and doing the actual science with me, the project with me, but they provided me with countless feedback to be a more effective communicator, to be able to speak here with you today. And so I think it's programs like these where, we're bringing kids in part of these STEM initiatives. There's two parts of STEM. We might be doing the science, and then we're also doing the engagement and all this community involvement. So that is what I would say got me here, all of those different types of initiatives which involve me and then let me do those initiatives as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. So that's like, there's a whole community of opportunities and support and stakeholder support. So, I wonder, we've all been impacted by adults, whether they're teachers that have really pushed us to think beyond our current goals, or adults that have given us opportunities to be engaged in different activities. And it's always important to acknowledge and publicly praise them. So is there a person in your journey that has really supported your learning and love of STEM? We can start with you, Sahiba.
Yeah, so for me, it was my 8th grade science teacher, Mrs. Christine Brillhart, and she was actually one of the advisors of the CSO program I mentioned. She was the one that got me out of that comfort zone. I think that the thing with students is we all have curious minds. It's just a natural thing that comes from us. We want to know about the world around us. But if we have an educator like you who can bring us out of that shell, then that's really what makes an impact. And she made that impact on my life, got me able to do these different types of science projects, and really just supported me in anything I wanted to do. Yeah.
I have so many. I would say that the one that has been supporting me from the beginning is my mom, Maria Tar. She's actually in the audience. from a young age, she has always been putting me in the science camps. Every summer, she would look for any engineering or STEM camp that I could do. And so I remember being there and actually watching Kari live on Mythbusters. And having my mom always encourage me. So I would go home and I'd be like, Mom, do you think I can do it? Because sometimes I'd hit a road bump and I'd be like, okay, what am I going to do now? And she'd be like, you got this. You can do it. We're going to brainstorm. We're going to figure it out. And so she was always that person who encouraged me to go for STEM. I believe that she is part of the reason that I am here today. I would also like to thank my primary investigator in my lab, Dr. Blake Ushijima, and Livia Costa, who is also a major helper, and then my 9th grade science teacher in marine science, who was the one that actually got me started in science fair, Mr. Byron Bishop. He is the one that also really kind of started this encouragement in STEM and learning.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you.
I want to ask you that question, Secretary Cardona. Who was your inspiration?
You know, it's interesting because I was fortunate. I always say you publicly praise them, right? And I had, over the last month and a half, I've been secretary for 3 years. And over the last month and a half, I had the privilege of bringing back my 2nd grade art teacher, Mr. Gary O'Neill, and my 11th and 12th grade art teacher, Ms. Linda Ransom, who were my inspiration to become a teacher. I wanted to be an art teacher. I brought them through the White House. I brought them to DC. I had let them sit in my desk to say, look, it's your belief in your students that made all this possible. And it was just heartwarming. So I thank you for acknowledging all those who were in your life, including those teachers that are often just doing this work because they love students, not looking for attention, not looking for praise. And that's why part of this whole You Belong in STEM thing is recognizing that in order for us to continue this passion, we must support our public schools and what they're doing to promote STEM. So thank you for bringing that up. Yeah. How about you?
Well, I'm gonna reverse this because I was a little bit of a late bloomer. I came to STEM and science on Mythbusters because I was also into art, and it wasn't until I realized that getting your hands dirty like art was science. And I have met so many women or men that watched Mythbusters and said, I didn't know how fun science could be until I saw you doing it and enjoying it, and getting hugs and talking to parents and educators, like my teacher friend Katie out there, who we were hugging and crying yesterday about the journey. So I am inspired by all of the teachers and students that kind of grew up in science with me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. So because they're going to be watching and because we're going to send them the link, let's give a round of applause to all the educators, all the influencers, all those who work hard.
Educators.
We are here celebrating STEM. We are here celebrating the STEM festival because you believed in us and you taught us to think big. And I know for you too, and I'm going to give you the last question in a second. I know for you too, you know, you're probably thinking, wow, I'm here. No, this is why this house exists. This is why the White House is here, because of people like you. And it's our responsibility to help create a system where you can reach your potential and go as far as you'd like to go. Okay, so thank you for your participation. Thank you for your passion. And you know, I know there's so many folks in the room here that are probably going to want to see your CV or your resume. So just, I hope you have an agent. And if not, we can work on getting you one, because you are going to be in high demand, whatever you choose to do. And I mean this in a positive way. Your contribution already has been phenomenal. And you're going to continue to shine, and we're so proud of you. So the final question that I have, and I want you to look at the camera when you say this, because the question is, you know, there are millions of boys and girls across the country that might have felt like you felt in elementary school, that are like, I like science, but I don't know if STEM is for me, or, you know, maybe have a passion for it, but are afraid to figure out how to explore it. The question is, what advice would you give to an elementary age student who is wondering about whether or not he or she should pursue their interest in a STEM field? That's the question.
Okay, so for all of you students out there, I want you to know that you do belong in STEM, and let me tell you why. So you might be thinking creatively, right? If you get this, you may have this wonderful idea that you want to pursue. Well, you can do it today, because you have seen 2 examples of people who were able to do it from a young age. And so I want you to go out there, talk to your parents, talk to your teachers, and say, I want to solve this. and don't take no for an answer.
I love it. I love it.
I would like to tell every single youth across the United States who does not think that they belong in STEM, you do. I was in exactly your same shoes. I didn't realize that I could be here today speaking to all of you. You can do it. Be like Nike and just do it. You have to keep going. You can never stop, because if you stop, then you may not pick it up. There have been so many things in my life that I was so dedicated to, and then I was like, what if I can't do this? I stopped, and then I regret it now that I didn't. So don't make that regret. Don't do what I did, and continue going, continue pushing, because you can do it, and I believe in you, and every single person in this room also believes in you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. That was really awesome. I mean, what an important and inspiring message. And I just want to say thank you for your time, for being here. I know you're missing school, so hopefully they don't give you extra homework because you're not here.
Can you write them a note? Come on.
We'll write a note. What do you think? A homework pass? What do you think? All right.
Thank you as well,
Yeah,
Secretary.
yeah.
This is incredible, and you inspired this.
Thank you. Thank you. And, so keep fighting that fight. Keep doing that. You're such a great advocate, not only for STEM, for education, and for the power of our country, really. And, Jenny and Kari, thank you. Your passion, what you do to just lift up the joy of science, the joy of STEM-related fields, the advocacy that you've done, not only with the show and the work you're doing with EXPLR, but what you're doing here today. I mean, you really are opening the doors and helping young girls and boys across the country say, you know what, I want to do that. So the passion that you have, the push in Austin, Texas, 2-3 years ago, the persistence, not really, like that's
Persistence pays off.
That's what we need to do, and I want to thank you. I want to thank Cindy and the entire Ed Department team for really turning this into a reality and something that's not going to stop anytime soon. To all the partners in the room, those who are listening, our students are watching and they're waiting. Let's continue to raise the bar around You Belong in STEM. So thank